One thing that I have always found kind of interesting is the evolution of how we communicate with each other and communication technology. We live in the 21st century where we are pretty spoiled, where we have our phones and can contact people instantaneously or fire off an email. But it's hard for us to imagine a period of time whenever communication was a lot slower than what it was now. And in 1860, something was developed that at the time they thought was really going to revolutionize just how fast people could communicate. And that new development was something called the Pony Express. Right now, I am at the Patee House Hotel, which is now the Patee House Museum, which served as the headquarters for the Pony Express. As I mentioned, this is the historic Patee House Hotel. And man, it is windy as heck out here today. But anyway, this is a hotel that was built in 1858 and within a few years became the headquarters for the Pony Express and also played a role in the Civil War. It's now been turned into a museum. To be honest, I don't know what to expect. I did a little bit of reading on this. I've never talked to anybody who's been to this museum, but I'm a naturally curious person, so we're going to dodge inside and see what we can learn. Okay, so we just got inside the Patee House here, and zoom in here a little bit. You can see what this hotel looked like in the 1860s. So here you can see it's branded as the finest hotel west of the Mississippi, and they have all kinds of cool artifacts that are from this hotel. So for example, like this is some of the original carpet that would have been in the Patee House Hotel, and this is some of the original silverware. They also have like a breakfast menu here that patrons would have ordered from. Of course, this is before the era of electricity. So this is a portion of a mechanical call system that they would use. This is a metal tube with wires that would run to the 140 rooms, and you would pull on that and it would summon a bellhop. But the one thing that I thought was really kind of funny is this brick. Apparently, whenever they were making this brick, there was a cat that walked through and left its prints. So, yeah, leaving its mark on history. Here's something else about this place that is really interesting. Not only did it serve as a hotel and as the kind of jumping off point for the Pony Express, but it also was the jumping off point for stagecoaches that were heading west. One of the more well-known occupants of this hotel and who used the stagecoach was Mark Twain. He talks about it in his book called Roughing It. So the Patee House was also used during the Civil War by the Union Army Provost Marshal as a headquarters. So they have some things here that kind of I guess you could say kind of harken back to the era of the Civil War and the role of the hotel. So they have a uniform there that was from a Captain Charles Douglas of the 4th Minnesota Regiment. And then they have some solid shot cannonballs and some canister and mini balls and things like that. So yeah, just another piece of the history here. Okay, so we've just moved out of the front lobby and are now in the very room that served as the headquarters for the Pony Express. So people who were mailing letters to the West would have their letters come by train here to this point. All of the letters would be offloaded and would be sorted here. And this would be the jumping off point for the Pony Express to start taking those letters out to California, which I think was 1,966 miles away. So again, what we're looking at here is the main office for the headquarters of the Pony Express. And there were some witnesses who said that the horses would be ridden directly into the headquarters here, and they would be loaded up with letters, and then the riders would take them to a ferry across the Missouri River, and then, well, they would be off on their journey, taking their letters to the next stop. Here's a map showing the route of the Pony Express. So here we are over here in St. Joseph, and this is showing all of the stations along the way where the mail would be handed off. And it would have cost somebody $5 per half ounce to send something out here to the West Coast, which, if you think about it, that was pretty darn expensive for the time. And then they have some different artifacts here in the Patee House, or in the museum here, like this little telegraph receiver. They also have some this Colt revolver that was carried by the Pony Express riders. You got to keep in mind, this was dangerous country that they were going across, so this was a pretty hazardous job. And then if you go over here, something that I looked at, they have this old Pony Express desk from Seneca, Kansas, at the Pony Express station there, that was built from a wagon box. Yeah, I thought that was kind of interesting. Also here in the museum, they have this area that's kind of set up to, look like a town. And just as a side note, St. Joseph is also the home of famous news broadcaster Walter Cronkite. So they have a little thing here about Cronkite. His dad was a dentist. So they have a few things that belong to his dad, who was a dentist in World War I. They also have the Cronkite family Bible on display here, as well as his dad's dental kit. And I'm sorry, that's his grandfather's dental kit, I'm sorry. And also these binoculars that were used during World War I. But yeah, famous resident here of St. Joseph. So this is something that I wasn't expecting. I was thinking that this was going to be like all stuff about the Pony Express, but they really have a lot of stuff about the history of St. Joseph. And I just happened to look at this section on like crime fighting in St. Joseph, and happened to notice this sign, which says, "Warning, artifacts in this exhibit include real murder weapons and other items of violent crimes that may be offensive to some people." Well, my gosh, how can I not take a peek in here? Okay, well, this is actually pretty dang interesting. So here are some burglar tools that were confiscated from some lady burglars named Esther Garcia and Marie Fontes. They were entering doctors' offices in February of 1933 looking for drugs. So apparently, meth heads aren't anything new. They've been around for a while. And also, this is really fascinating. Look at this. These are jail keys that prisoners made out of spoons and forks. Dang, that is actually just pretty dang cool. Now, St. Joseph is well known for being the place where Jesse James was murdered by Robert Ford, but they also have all kinds of other murder weapons here, which is kind of dark, but kind of interesting. So here is a knife that was used in 1889, where Caesar Carriger was stabbed in the ribs with this knife, May 16th, 1889. Was between an argument between two men in the rug beating business. And boy, that's a horrifying looking thing right there. Butcher knife used to kill his 45-year-old wife and her daughter. Oh my gosh. Ooh, there's a straight razor that was used to kill somebody. Well, of course, and then we have a couple hammers. See, Arthur Fegan, 42, was killed at his service station at 4th and Anquilique with this hammer. Dang. So Leonard Kelly, 31, confessed he crushed Fagan's skull while robbing him of $12 to $14. Oh my gosh. And then we here have a 32, oh my gosh, and then an axe. Hattie Bird's axe. Golly. Somebody killed somebody else with a dadgum drill. This exhibit is horrifying. Huh. Here's another kind of interesting one on the last legal hanging in St. Joseph in 1904. This was a guy named Mark Dunn, was sentenced to hang on March 11th, 1904 for the murder of a guy named Alfred Fenton in 1902. And, well, he had a friend on the outside who smuggled these two revolvers in this kerosene can. Smuggled it into the jail, and then he used that to escape. And anyway, this guy was apprehended a few days later, and then, well, the hanging that was scheduled was carried out. Oh man, and they have a picture right here of the hanging of Mark Dunn. Merciful days. Alright, well that was just a small little bit of what there is here at the Patee House Museum. One thing that I forgot to mention, I've done a couple of videos on Jesse James. After Jesse James was murdered, his wife and kids were actually brought here to the Patee House Hotel where they stayed for a few days. So all kinds of history here. Honestly, I thought that I was going to be mainly learning about the Pony Express, but there was so much more in there that was very interesting. That's why you should come to museums like this, because you never know what you're going to learn. But anyway, yeah, glad that we stopped here today. We are constantly exploring and learning new things on this channel, so if you found value in this video, be sure to subscribe and click the notification bell to catch all of the new content when it comes out. And be sure to check the links in the description for more content and opportunities from our partners.